And so, to the start of the playoffs, always an invigorating prospect that exponentially increased by the return of the lifeblood of our game. The fans back in, from here to Barnsley, to Morecambe, to Lincoln, a trip to the football, back as part of the fabric to our lives. As fans begin to reconvene, thoughts inevitably turn to those no longer making the journey with us. Their absence felt by those who are once more able to embrace in the flesh our wonderful game. And they return with the stakes high. According to the law of parachute payment gravity, what goes down might come back up. Watford and Norwich, both adrift of Bournemouth last season, have already secured safe passage back to the Premier League. The Cherries left in their wake this season, hoping to make it a full set. There's a season of instability and inconsistency. Eddie Howe's summer departure, a winter run of 1 win in 7 games, rendering Jason Tyndall's reign a brief one. Jonathan Woodgate, who'd only been at the club a matter of days, finding himself in the hot seat on a caretaker basis. Well, that temporary arrangement has continued. 7 straight wins securing a playoff place. 3 subsequent defeats, bringing them into the playoffs as the most out of form of the candidates. For all Woodgate's experience, his playoff CV extends to just a couple of minutes. A brief appearance for Middlesbrough against Brentford, the end of his playing career. But it ended in victory of no surprise to Bees supporters. That's because theirs is the worst of all the playoff histories. 9 attempts to win promotion through the end of season circus, 9 failures. The defeat at the hands of Fulham last season, still a raw nerve. They'd limped into that campaign, having blown chances to seal automatic promotion. How different their mindset this time around. 4 wins in a row, unbeaten in 12. Better for the experience of last summer, with the belief that this is their time. No Watkins or Benrahma these days with the breakup of the BMW. Instead, Ivan Toney has been the Championship's ultimate driving machine, with his 31 goals the foundation for success. Keeping him quiet, fundamental to the success of each of their opponents. And Bournemouth will try and do that tonight with Asmir Begovic in goal, Smith, Carter Vickers, Steve Cook and Kelly the back 4. Adam Smith, the only player in Bournemouth's starting lineup who's ever played in a playoff game before. Pearson and Lerma ahead of them. Brooks, Billing and Danjuma, and Dominic Solanke up front. Brentford will be in their change kit of all white. David Raya in goal, Janssen, Norgard and Pinnock, Ruslev and Canos the wing-backs, Janelt anchoring the midfield, Jensen and Fosu ahead of him, and Tony and Force up front with 40 goals between them. The benches, Bournemouth, Mepham, Wilshire and Long, Surridge, Stacey, Raquelme, Diego, Rico, Anthony and Travers. For Brentford, it's Henry, Good and Burmo, Godos, Dalsgaard, Reed, Marcondes, Bidstrup and Luke Daniels. And the referee is Tim Robinson. He last took charge of either of these teams when he officiated Brentford's game at Norwich back in March. Well, just listen to the noise. And before kick-off, players from both sides will take the knee. So Brentford in all white will get us underway. They're kicking from right to left towards the Steve Fletcher stand here on the south coast. A roar of anticipation from the supporters in and around us. Just over 2,000 allowed in here to the Vitality Stadium, hoping that the Cherries will get the job done. Brentford, the form team, getting it away with Pontus Jansson, who was sent off in the 1-0 victory for the Bees here just a few weeks ago. And he goes out of play for a Bournemouth throw. 0-0, the first of the 2 legs of this playoff semi-final. The first of the playoff semi-finals that we're bringing you tonight on TalkSport, with Barnsley-Swansea coming up at the conclusion of this game. We've got it all covered for you on the TalkSport network with both of these games tonight here on TalkSport 2. Brentford working it back to Steve Cook. He finds his goalkeeper Begovic. Begovic forward to Cameron Carter-Vickers just outside the penalty area. And now Adam Smith on the right-hand side, teasing it forward towards halfway, where Pearson is beaten but fouled by Pinnock. And it's a free kick to Bournemouth. And it's a good evening to David Connolly. It's some game in prospect here.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, just looking at Brentford, they always do things a little bit differently, even from the kick-off. Norgard, who's a central centre-half, took the kick-off. set it back, went up and tried to challenge for it, and then eventually it turns over. It takes a little while. Now he's dropped back into this sort of back three, middle of the back three. So they're always doing things, as I said, always looking for that extra edge. Sometimes we don't know why. Kevin O'Connor sitting beside us, obviously first team coach. He looks in very confident mood.
Bournemouth sending a high spinning ball down towards the right-hand touchline for David Brooks, who's missed so much football because of injury. He couldn't control it. Had to play for a Brentford throw, which has been taken quickly, and Tony wins the first instalment of the battle with Carter Vickers by winning a free kick. Free kick taken quickly, but from the wrong place by Norgard. Just clarifying with the referee why he hasn't been allowed to restart play from there. He's only about 4 or 5 yards further back, and it was a very good piece of vision from Norgard, who just spun it with the outside of the right boot down towards the right-hand touchline where Ruslev had made an early run forward.
I think both sides here want a quick tempo game, don't they? They want it to flow, but already Tim Robinson has blown up twice for really 2 challenges that probably weren't free kicks.
Tony over on the far touchline for Brentford, unable to control it, goes out of play for a throw to be taken by Bournemouth. And Bournemouth, the scorer of the goal, only a few minutes after coming off the bench when the sides met 3 weeks ago here. Janssen set off at 0-0, and Brentford beat Bournemouth back in December as well, though the Cherries scored first that day with Solanke. For Dalsgaard and Fosu got the Bees over the line on that occasion. It's Bournemouth with the majority of the early possession, bringing forward with Adam Smith. And it's come out of play for a Bournemouth throw, despite the claims of Canos that he flicked it back into Smith. And the decision is the right one. Smith takes the throw and works it back inside his own half for Carter Vickers, who in turn finds Steve Cook, a veteran of nearly 385 Bournemouth games now. And Cherries working down the inside left channel. Billing chases that, but it was overhit, goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by David Raya. 3 minutes gone. It's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0.
Yeah, what they're trying to do when the ball goes out for a throw, Bournemouth, is get it from one side of the pitch as quickly as they can to the other, and they've looked dangerous like that at times. There's a lot of ground for the likes of Fosu to cover, and at times they just haven't quite got it out to Brooks quickly enough.
Fosu playing it forward here. Tony's made an excellent run. He's got between the centre halves. He chested it inside the penalty area, but it was just too much a touch. Begovic could come out off his line quickly and make the save. But that's the pass that they're looking for. And the first time they've played it, it almost got in.
Yeah, brilliant. It all started with the goalkeeper, though, didn't it? Into Norgard, fed it wide to Fosu Henry, cut inside onto his right foot. It's a lovely drilled ball over the top to Tony, but it just took a heavy touch, just pinged off it. He needed a softer cushion there. But warning shot there for Bournemouth.
Jefferson Lerma in possession for the Cherries, coming towards the edge of the centre circle. And just forcing the Bees back inside their own half. Ben Pearson, with the shaggy hair, coming down towards Brooks. Brooks doing well. He's turned away from Canos, but Pinnock came across and stopped him getting too far. Then Lerma is in there, protecting the ball by turning, getting it away from Tariq Fosu. Going back for Cook. Now to Lerma.
Carter Vickers twice now has got him really strong on Tony, hasn't he? Once at free kick given against him. That time, though, probably should have been for Tony, but play on. And I think that's how Carter Vickers is going to try and mark Tony, be really aggressive on that first touch.
Ivan Toney, who scored 31 goals this season. Best return for the Bees in a league season since Steve Phillips back in 1978. It really has been a fantastic campaign for him after his £5 million plus move from Peterborough. And Brentford, again, winning the jackpot. I say winning the jackpot, earning the jackpot in terms of the science and the research. Selling Ollie Watkins, making a £20 million profit and buying a player that scored even more goals for them. Here's Pinnock, getting it forward towards the halfway line and then chipping it left-footed into space. Canos chasing after it, but Smith is there first for Bournemouth, who has bought the free kick. He just stopped as he made his run back and knew that Canos was close behind him, stuck the brakes on, the collision inevitable, and so was the tumble. It's a free kick to Bournemouth, and Smith using the experience of 370 senior games.
Absolutely, a little bit clumsy there from Canos. And one thing we do know is that Bournemouth, look, based on their stats this season, they're the second highest in terms of possession. They will have a lot of the ball here tonight, so they'll have to be patient, pick and choose their times. Brighton. Any other teams with B? Have I left out?
Birmingham, remember that?
We could do them, yeah. They'll have to pick and choose Brentford when they do go and attack.
Ball cleared by Begovic. A high ball towards halfway. Pinnock just letting it run and goes all the way through for David Raya, who's only conceded 2 goals in the last 8 games. Both of these goalkeepers with an identical number of clean sheets so far this season. Raya playing it out from the back to his left for Norgard, the sweeper, dark-haired and barely 6 foot. To his right-hand side for Janssen, mounted alongside him. Former Leeds man finding his goalkeeper, Red driving it forward over halfway. Carter Vickers just picking up a bang to the face as he and Marcus Forss went for the same ball. Then Pearson coming back and claiming he was fouled, and that's been given his way. Terry Fosu was the player who was judged to be the guilty party. 7 minutes of race by. The inclement weather that we saw on the Dorset coast earlier this afternoon has now abated. There's a beautiful blue sky with some thick clouds just down towards the sea, only about a mile and a half from here. The ball played forward, Janssen beating Solanke in the air. Bournemouth's top scorer, marshalled easily and effectively there by the Swede, and then it'll be played forward by Tony down the Brentford right, turned back over his shoulder by Lerma in towards Solanke, won back though by Janelt in the midfield, who will take it down towards the right-hand touchline before running out of room, but as he did so, he flicked his foot to it and make sure that the ball hit Billing on its way out. It's a Brentford throw about 10-12 yards inside the Bournemouth half. 7.5 gone on TalkSport 2, 0-0.
Yeah, he's broke up the play a couple of times really well, Janelt, just in front of that back three, who at times have just set off, haven't they, Janssen and Norgard?
That's a good ball forward here again by Norgard, and it's an unorthodox attempt to clear it from Carter Vickers. Then a Brentford player goes down inside the penalty area. The referee disinterested. Loose ball picked up on the edge of the box. Right footage slipped inside the area. It's headed back across the face of the 6-yard box by Ruslev and will be kept in down by the corner flag, and Bournemouth with an opportunity to bring it away. Then with a free kick as Billing goes to the ground. That was far and away the most incisive attack that either side have been able to muster inside the opening 8 minutes. 0-0. Yeah,
the first time really either side has got in behind a defence there. 2 good crosses into the box. The first one, I say, looked like a little bit of contact on Fosu, but nothing given. And then a cross by Canos, which you obviously become accustomed to, cutting in off this left-hand side, in-swinging with his right peg.
Begovic put under pressure by Force, was able to get the ball away. Headed back forward over halfway by Ruslev. The referee spotted an infringement. It was just waiting to see whether anything would develop Brentford's way after the initial foul on Ruslev, and it didn't really. The ball found its way through towards Janssen, who's in a difficult position, so player's been pulled back and a free kick given. And now Norgard striding forward again from the defensive line, ends up fouling Cook, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth in a central position not too far outside their own penalty area. Taken quickly and intelligently by Lerma, and Billing can languidly make his way forward out of the left-hand side for Danjuma, trying to commit Roslav, and he's done that, then checks back onto his favoured right foot. Left-footed ball clipped inside the penalty area, heads going up for it. It was Brooks with the initial effort, and then as it falls for Lerma on the edge, he hits a dipping left footer which only just clears the bar.
Oh, it's unlucky, this from Lerma. A really good ball in. It just looked like it for 1 minute that Brooks had got inside Canos, but he just did enough to put him off. Headed it clear to the edge of the box on the full volley here. Pinnock with a clearing head up. Lerma, lovely left foot lace strike volley, but just flashed past the post.
Jefferson Lerma with Bournemouth's first attempt. A player has only scored 3 goals this season, 6 in his Bournemouth career so far. Fosu being forced out into a wider position by Pearson, and he's done well to knock it off Brooks. Now to play for a throw which Pinnock will come across to take. Decent away record Brentford this season. They won more than half of their games on the road. It's a comparable away record to that of Bournemouth's here. In fact, they've both taken the same number of points. And Brentford particularly impressive away from home against top 6 opposition. Pertinent, of course, in these playoff matches. 2 wins, 2 draws, and just the 1 defeat, which came against the champions Norwich. So that's a good record. In fact, if you drop a mini table between the sides in the playoffs, it's Brentford that would win it. And Bournemouth would have picked up 7 points to Brentford's 11. Ball thrown forward, nothing between the 2 sides so far today. 0-0 in this first leg, we're 11 minutes in, and Pinnock can play forward towards Canos. The former Liverpool man just caught in possession there. Brooks putting the pressure on. A loose ball that only found Cook. And then Brooks gets it back, and Brooks working around the back of Pinnock. Smith missed his kick, slices it wide, but it was all about the pass. Goal side of Pinnock, who just didn't read it. Adam Smith came in, pulled it back, and Billing towards the edge of the penalty area should have made a much better fist of it.
Yeah, you've got to say that. I think again it's Janel who works ever so well, really hard without the ball, just does enough, I think, to put Billing off, but it's a poor connection. You would say Pinnock, one thing he can't do is just get done on the inside. He's got to try and force that ball on the outside of him. Lovely little cut back cross though, but I think Billing will be really disappointed with that. Best chance of the game, centre of goal, simple side foot on his left foot. I don't think he can ask for any more there.
Ethan Pinnock, a player who has got playoff experience prior to his time with Brentford. He won the National League playoff with Forest Green some 4 years ago.
Well, he did brilliant at Barnsley, didn't he? But one thing you've got to do there, once you know that the full-back's gone, you've got to keep him on the outside. Can't allow the ball to go on the inside of you.
Now Brooks has been caught in possession by Canos, whose ball in takes a deflection, and Tony was lurking. Lloyd Kelly letting it run across his body and playing out to the touchline, looking for Dan Juma, and Bournemouth winning a throw. 12 and a half gone. It is Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, with the second leg of this one, a Saturday 12:30 kickoff, live on TalkSport. It's over on TalkSport. Matt Holland alongside me for that. DC will be in Swansea for the second leg of their game with Barnsley. Later that day, the first leg coming up today, with an 8:15 kickoff. And Ian Danger will talk you through the action along with Chris Iwelumo from Oakwell tonight. And here on the South Coast, 13 minutes in, it is 0-0. And Adam Smith has the chance to bring it forward down the Bournemouth right. And that's a ball that slips all the way through towards Janssen. And Janssen can take a touch and then will work it back to his goalkeeper. Solanke putting a little bit of pressure on Norgard, but just ends up inadvertently in a game of piggy in the middle there, as Brentford can play out from the back very easily. Norgard clipping it right-footed, inch perfect, out to Ruslav over on the right-hand side, the Danish under-21 international, a market that has been very heavily plundered by Brentford. Pinnock, back for Norgard, another Dane, now Pontus Janssen.
They're just not progressing high enough the pitch here, Jim. The two outside centre-halves, every time they get it, they're locked on by the two Bournemouth wingers, so it's up to Norgard to make that difference. Can he make it up? And also, if he's going to play out to a wing-back to Ruslav, he's got to be much higher. Every time he switches the play, he's not even over the halfway line. It just means at this moment in time, Brentford not really progressing up the pitch, certainly not as they'd want.
Free kick for an offside against Tony, taken by Cook, finding Kelly down the left-hand touchline for Billing. Work back for Kelly and now to Cook again, and they will change the line of attack by going across the defensive line for Carter Vickers. Brooks showed for the ball into feet. Carter Vickers, without looking, played it long. Just a little verbal communication between the pair of them about who was at fault for that as the ball went through to the Brentford back line. Still 0-0.
You surely got to get it into Brooks at his feet. He is, his footwork is fantastic. Give it to him, give it to his feet, let him create something.
Lovely touch by Canos, just easing it away from Ben Pearson. And towards the blonde-haired Ruslav, the right wing-back over on the far touchline as we look at it, with Brentford kicking from right to left. Ruslav back for Janelt. Janelt, 15 yards outside the penalty area. Long switch of play towards Tarek Fosu in his yellow boots on the left-hand side. Hits the ball inside the box, is volleyed by Pearson back towards his own goal. Tony going up for the header, but he's pushed Cook over. And it's going to be a free kick which will be taken by Bournemouth. And Ben Pearson is hugely relieved.
Yeah. Also as well with the referee, he's got to let some things go already so far. Every time there's any sort of contact, he's just blowing. I think both teams here, and I think they want a really open, fast game. And he's just depriving us of that at this moment in time. Not every bit of contact is a foul. And that's what he's given at this minute.
15 minutes in, it is still 0-0. And a long clearance by Asmir Begovic, who has played in the World Cup, and this is his first ever playoff campaign, and he's just smacked that one straight out of play for a throw that will be taken by Janssen over on the far touchline. Let me remind you, Sports Day's back at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Paul Coit bringing you your essential roundup of the morning's top sports stories, whilst over on TalkSport from 6, Laura Woods, Ali McCoist and Darren Bent with the TalkSport breakfast. Reacting to everything that happens in the first and second of these playoff games tonight and at Barnsley. Ball played for by Janelt, straight out of place. Just got a little bit scrappy last couple of minutes. Out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Bournemouth right-hand side. A little bit of inadvertent billiards going on there, because Smith just picked up one ball and was preparing to take the throw, and another one got thrown back in by one of the fans and knocked the first one out of his hands. Smith spinning the white ball with its blue markings round in his hands, finding David Brooks. Brooks for Carter Vickers. Begovic, lower, flatter clearance than he wanted, but it finds its way through towards Billing, who just got caught off the ball there by Jensen. Play goes on with Brooks. Brooks to Lerma. Lerma down towards the left-hand side. Roar of anticipation from the Bournemouth fans as the men in red and black make headway. Kelly in towards the edge of the penalty area. Little flick ball back, didn't quite find Danjuma. Left-footed ball swinging. Solanke. Header hits the post and will ricochet away and out of play for a goal kick.
He's unlucky. I think Solanke's here saying there's a contact from a Brentford player. Nice little move, a give and go. I think Rosev has got to try and force Danjuma wide. He actually shows him inside. You can't do that. Good ball into the box from Kelly, right along the 6-yard box. Solanke on the move, gets in front, downwind header, skips off the post, off the outside of it. He was unlucky. Good move again from Bournemouth.
4 goals in his 8 games coming into this one. Dominic Solanke, he played in the Champions League semi-final 3 years ago and was on the bench for Liverpool in the final in that same campaign.
Do you know how that move started, Jim? From a throw again. They've done that really, really, touched on it at the start. From a throw, they get it from one side over to the other side of the pitch really quickly, then they're at you.
Janelt's ball forward. Tony chasing, and a good defensive header from Carter Vickers. Tony is spun in behind him. Carter Vickers had to make sure, but he could just nod it back to his goalkeeper. And Bournemouth with an opportunity to bring it away again. Jim Bradford and David Connolly talking you through the action from the Vitality Stadium, where it is 0-0 between Bournemouth and Brentford. And welcome to listeners joining us on TalkSport 2 from TalkSport for our live coverage of Bournemouth against Brentford. It is still 0-0 with me, Jim Bradford, and former Portsmouth and Republic of Ireland striker David Connolly. Bournemouth coming the closest so far with a Dominic Solanke header from an excellent Lloyd Kelly cross that came back off the outside of the post. It's been a very enjoyable spectacle, David.
Yeah, it has been a really open game, high tempo. You know, Billing had that chance as well, put on a play 6 yards out, sort of missed his connection, so it's been a really good start from Bournemouth.
Now Brooks making his way forward here, and Solanke's going to be able to pick up the ball right hand side of the area, flashes the cross in, defensive header from Ruslev, and then Pinnock on the stretch volleys it outside the penalty area before Fosu is fouled by Adam Smith. Don't forget, for more EFL semi-final playoff action, join us over on TalkSport 2 via the app or DAB+. It is Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0 with 19 minutes gone.
Now looks like Steve Cook is down here. So I think it's going to be a worry for them.
Well, he's feeling he's sitting up again. He's feeling his right leg and just the underside of the leg. Jonathan Woodgate looking nervous, patrolling up and down the edge of his technical area. No doubt about the importance of Cook to the cause, and everybody of a Bournemouth persuasion will be delighted to see the thumbs up from Cook, the old warhorse at the heart of the Bournemouth defence. Going to be okay for now.
Well, it's been a brilliant start from the home team, you've got to say. Fans are really excited every time Brentford get it at the back playing out. You can hear the pressure that the fans are trying to put on them.
Tony chasing, Carter Vickers tries to beat him in the air. Marcus Force is there trying to pick up the pieces as well, but Bournemouth can knock it away. Janelt now for the Bees, into the feet of Tony, who can spin and turn, and he's got options either side of him. Trying to feed it through towards Jensen. Bournemouth stand firm and get it away. Danjuma, the Dutchman, back towards the edge of his own penalty area where Cook controls it and sends a lovely ball forward over the head of Canos. David Brooks. Brooks always looking to turn back inside, trying to play the ball forward. He was under pressure and Solanke couldn't get to it before Norgard and his goalkeeper mopped up between them. Still 0-0 here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, Sergio Canos done ever so well there, just to help out Ethan Pinnock, who's left 1v1.
Now they look again for the long ball forward to Brentford. Force chasing it. And Bournemouth able to knock it away. Here's Kelly. Billing taking it into his stride, trying to turn, get it away from Janelt. Lerma just flicking it forward off balance. Norgard there ahead of Solanke. Jensen back in centre of midfield for Brentford. And then Fossey making his way forward to the left-hand side is Canos. Canos back for Ethan Pinnock again. Pinnock to his right-hand side for Norgard, and Norgard will just bring it through the centre circle before going to his right for Pontus Jansson. Jansson's 10 yards inside his own half, goes much deeper than that to find his goalkeeper. The Spaniard David Rea in all light blue, and it's played forward by him. And Janelt, who's just dropped deep and split the two centre-halves again, will pick up possession and find Norgard. Norgard clipping it forward. He's got such a wonderful range of passing on him, but just that one curves away, the old commentator's curse, as it spun down the left-hand side of the penalty area into Adam Smith's path, and he will shepherd it out of play.
Well, it was unlucky. I mean, he just deceived everyone there, Jim, in terms of he's a left footer, but then suddenly just got it onto his right and tried a right-footed little switch of play, and just at times just touching back on the likes of Pontus Jansson. When it does go to those outside centre-halves, they're sort of static at this moment in time, so he receives it and there's nowhere for him to go, and invariably he goes backwards. It'd be nice for him to take his first touch, make it a positive one, take it forward and see if they can get out down that right-hand side.
It's the season where Brentford reached their first ever Major Cup semi-final, losing to Tottenham but giving a good account of themselves. And this semi-final, Bournemouth on top at the moment, left-footed ball in from Dan Juma, and Janssen is there on the stretch. He's done well inside his own 6-yard box to volley it away. Maybe hurt himself in the process. Phil Billing was the Bournemouth player attacking it, and Janssen has stayed down, the referee going across to see if any treatment is necessary. And it goes out of play for a throw to Bournemouth over on the left-hand touchline. Incidentally, some breaking news. Sheffield United striker Ollie McBurney's revealed that he's out of Scotland's European Championship campaign this summer. That's just been revealed on social media by Ollie McBurney himself. So Ollie McBurney out of the Scotland squad for this summer. Bournemouth take the throw. Work it, still 0-0 to Dan Juma. Ruslev stops it just going out of play for what would have been the first corner. He's on the slide and just able to divert it the right side of the corner flag from a Brentford perspective. Not quite being hemmed in inside their own final third at the moment, but Bournemouth are applying a good bit of pressure. Ball chested down from the throw to Phil Billing. Billing's low, right-footed driven cross, beaten away. Janelt got an important touch. Jensen tries to bring it further away. Pearson is in there, but he's lost out. Lerma with a touch though, and Tony can bring it forward. And Marcus Forss chases Steve Cook there first, as the applause around the stadium will tell you. Cook is carrying an injury after the moment that he had about 5-6 minutes or so ago. He didn't show it there. That was a brilliantly timed challenge where there was no margin for error.
Yeah, great anticipation. Just a couple of nervy moments here for some Brentford players. I mean, the ball was just hooked up in the air. Norgard had all the time in the world. You could see when he headed it, his two sort of centre-halves beside him saying, no, he could have taken that down, just settled down. And maybe it's the fans, it's the noise, it's great, we've got that here, but maybe it's not as easy to hear your teammates as maybe it was previously.
You think how many games they will have played since they last played in front of an audience, a captive audience like this. It's bound to make a difference. Maybe one or two in front of fans earlier this season. Bournemouth only had the one, which was a victory here against Wickham, the only time that the doors were open here over the course of this season.
Just looking at that match-up on that side, Jim, with Dan Juma up against Ruslev, I mean, this is where they may miss Dalsgaard, because when he's cut inside, Dan Juma is too quick for Ruslev, and then Ruslev's tried to shut that off and force him down the line. He's also too quick down there as well, and too fleet-footed, so tough job for him out there, Ruslev.
Tony does well, gets away from Cook, plays it back towards the edge of the area. Canos with a low skidding right-footed effort, and it's taken a touch on its way through. It's going wide anyway, but it has given Brentford the first corner. Should be taken on the left flank. Not too many of the Bournemouth supporters or staff happy with that decision. They felt that there was one at the other end. There was much more of a corner than that. It has. Looking at the replay, it's a minimal touch, but it did hit Steve Cook. It was the right decision. There's a good spot that by Tim Robinson, and it's a corner which will be taken on the Brentford left-hand side. Jensen will go across to take it. He's got the option of a short one to Janelt, and nearly everybody for Brentford forward. I think they've got 7 inside that penalty area waiting to attack. 6 it is, in fact. 2 more wait on the edge of the penalty area, including Fosu, who's in space 18 yards from goal. It's hit him very deep, flicked back in by Pinnock. No opportunity for Janssen to turn. Billing heads it away. Fosu then on the corner of the penalty area, picking it up for Brentford, who checks, pretends to get it in on his right foot, gets it back onto his left, can divert the ball in now, but Billing heads it away. Fosu will try again. Good 1-2 between him and Pinnock. Back to the corner of the penalty area. Norgard with a layoff. Another opportunity for Tariq Fosu. Taking it down towards the corner flag. Has to spin back out to go in. Left-footed ball in from Pinnock, and a backheader, I think, from Lerma straight into the hands of his goalkeeper. And Begovic, something else that David identified before the game, so desperate to get the ball out as quickly as he can. Threw it forward, having caught it from the backheader, trying to get Bournemouth going. Pinnock, though, on his way back into the shape and the defensive line, was able to dispossess Billing, and Brentford have got possession back again. Inside their own half, it's goalless here on TalkSport 2, David.
Yeah, clever corner though, wasn't it? You can tell that's one they've had up their sleeves. Brentford drill to the back post, nice bit of movement, and they spend a lot of time, pride themselves on those set pieces. Nearly came off there, it's clever.
Norgard's got it again. Played 27 minutes. Those are the thoughts of David Connolly alongside me, Jim Proudfoot, Dan Windle in the chair, and Beck McCarthy, our in-stadium producer. Janssen forward into the feet of Jensen, who has skied that one straight out of play into the Bournemouth fans over on the far touchline. And now Brooks has got a problem, and this might be a more severe issue because he's gone down off the ball and he's waiting for the Bournemouth medical staff to come on and attend him. He's a player who has had rotten luck with injury over the last 12-18 months or so. And he's just being attended to. Is that his left foot, the top of his left foot, maybe his ankle, that they are looking at there?
This will be a blow for them, but just going back to Brentford there, Jensen with that sort of giveaway first time clearance, and just a couple of times they've done a few unusual things, and that can happen with the pressure in terms of how they play. Norgard clearing the ball first time when he had all the time in the world to take it down. Jensen there passing it straight out of play, very unlike Brentford, and obviously these are the big moments, the big games. Just need to settle down a little bit, but certainly Bournemouth has started much the better team.
Well, in terms of possession, it's Brentford that are shading it at the moment, 55-45 in their favour, but 4 attempts to 1 in Bournemouth's. Gives you probably a slightly more accurate reflection for the feel of the way the game has gone. Bournemouth coming the closest with that Solanke ever to hit the post. Play restarts with a throw. Brooks is given permission to come back on right in front of us. Bournemouth working forward towards Solanke, controlling it with his back to the direction of play. Pearson is played in. Now Brooks has it. Brooks has a good challenge on him, and he's stayed down, hurt again. Canos won it cleanly. No complaints from Brooks. He is now back on his feet, but clearly he felt it. He's carrying on, but is carrying some problem with that ankle by the look of it.
He's just got to be a little bit quicker when he does his skill, Brooks. Certainly when he comes up against Canos, because he's quick. He's got to know he's going to be quick and aggressive. He's just got to shift it a little bit sooner, Brooks.
Ball's out for a throw, which will be taken by Adam Smith on the Bournemouth right, 8 yards from the corner flag. Into the feet of Billing. Tall Danish midfielder. Back for Smith again. Smith driving it in. Ricochets off Janelt. Down right in front of us for Pearson. We're midway inside the half the Bournemouth are attacking in this first period. Back from Jefferson Lerma. Long cross for the ball to switch the play. Kelly is in support of Danjuma's little cushion header. Kelly making his way forward. Drives it in. It hits Janssen. And ricochets the safety for Brentford outside the box. Very clever back heel then from Danjuma. But Kelly hadn't quite got himself back on side. It's a free kick to Brentford.
Yeah, again though, it starts with a throw, Jim, out on this side, right hand side, a couple of little passes, bang, they switch the play, then it's a 2v1, Kelly on the underlap this time. Wrong decision though, he tries to play it across the 6-yard box. He's done that 2 or 3 times now, whereas the little cutback for Billing was on, he was about the penalty spot, completely unmarked.
Bournemouth hoping to get back into the Premier League out the first attempt after 5 seasons in the top flight, the first 5 in their history. Finished 16th and 9th, and then steadily went downhill after that. 12th, 14th, 18th, before ultimately going down, despite winning on the last day of last season at Everton. Ball on the right-hand side of the penalty area as Brentford fire it in. Canos hooking it back in. Begovic came out, tried to commit himself. Tony trying to chest it down. Everybody waiting for everybody else inside the 18-yard box for a moment. It breaks out for Fosu on the edge of the penalty area, who drives it in straight into Pearson's midriff. And in keeping with the way the game has been policed, that's a free kick there. Fosu catching Pearson, who stayed down injured in Bournemouth's right-back position. But that was better from Brentford, getting it into advanced areas and winning the first ball inside the penalty area.
Yeah, it's Tony then coming deep, trying to link the play. Set it, get it wide, then get in the box. Good header from Force. Not quite the cleanest of contacts though. Looped up in the air. There's Ben Pearson. Normally he's the one dishing out those sorts of challenges.
He's okay, he's back on his feet. And the bearded midfielder that they signed from Preston in January makes his way back. Plays like Harry Arter, even looks like Harry Arter, and he is Harry Arter with a different name on the back of his shirt to all intents and purposes. Ball cleared by Begovic. Billing leaning into Canos, couldn't beat him. Pinnock with an easy header away. Carter-Vickers then whacks it forward, trying to turn the Brentford back line. Pinnock takes control of that one, heads away from Solanke. Back from Pearson before being brought down by Lerma. Brooks has got Smith making an excellent run forward, and he's found him beautifully. Smith with a high ball inside the area. Danjuma, knowing that Ruslan was going to beat him in the air, just took a couple of steps back, knowing that he needed to win the second ball, and he's done that. The Dutchman getting it onto his favoured right foot and working it down the left-hand side of the area. Billing with the back heel, hoping that somebody was going to get on the end of it, and it was a Brentford player that did. Jensen. Now Janssen for Ruslev, and he punts it forward long over halfway, where Steve Cook beats Force in the air to try and get Bournemouth going again. 12 to go to half-time here on TalkSport 2. It is Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, and Barnsley against Swansea coming up. 8 o'clock the build-up starts for an 8:15 kick-off with Dan, and Ian Dander up at Oakwell with Chris Iwelumo with the call for that one. Free kick here for Jensen. I think it was Kelly that just lent into him, the former Bristol City man. That's a free kick which will be taken quickly by Jensen. For Janssen, he rolled it for Ruslan, wasn't expecting it, and the referee's going to ask him to take it again because players from both teams were going across to have a word with him, and the referee just speaking to Steve Cook here, who's the Bournemouth captain, I think, is just being told to calm his players down. It will be a free kick which will be taken by Brentford about 10-15 yards or so inside their own half. 11 to go to half-time here on TalkSport 2, and it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. David Connolly.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how Brentford are doing, you know, when they go from back to front, if it's anywhere sort of not into the chest or into the feet of Tony and Force, it just hasn't really stuck for them. You know, I think Cook has started really well and aggressive, same with Carter-Vickers. But you go back to Bournemouth, when it goes out to Brooks and Danjuma, they look absolutely brilliant. Billing's got to get hold of it a little bit. Been a bit quiet, isn't he, by his standards?
Smith has been fouled by Canos. Smith going down, getting his hands on the ball to force the referee's mind, really. There's a free kick which will be taken in the right-back position by Bournemouth and by Adam Smith. He's going to leave it for his goalkeeper, Asmir Begovic. Begovic has made more than 250 Premier League appearances, and CV that boasts football the likes of AC Milan as well. Vastly experienced. Goals by goalkeepers very much in vogue this weekend after Alisson's heroics yesterday. Asmir Begovic, one that has done it in the past. Very early goal in a game for Stoke against Southampton a good few years back now, where he beat Arda Boric from about 80 yards. His long ball forward here, Begovic. Bournemouth winning the seconds with Lerma turning it on. Pearson then hooking it forward again, and Norgaard's there to knock it away. Tony coming back on the left-hand touchline, pokes it down. Fosu back for Pinnock. Pinnock to Force, who just couldn't on the turn get an elaborate flick to find Ivan Toney.
It's got to make it stick though, Jim. It's got to get hold of it. Too many loose little touches, I think, from the Brentford front two. Get hold of it.
Janssen goes back inside his own half for Norgaard, and Norgaard finds his goalkeeper, David Raya, Just waving players towards him, rolls it into the feet of Ethan Pinnock. Pinnock's ball down the line, and Smith denied Canos any space whatsoever. But it is Adam Smith that got the last touches out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Brentford left. Brentford hanging in there, really. A side that have only lost 4 of the last 39 league games. They had this remarkable run, 21 unbeaten, October through February in the league. Then they lost 4 of the next 6. Bounced back to end the season unbeaten in 12. Bournemouth, remember, after 7 straight wins, lost the last 3 games of the regular season. A bit of head scratching going on as to exactly why. One of them, the defeat at home to Brentford here, but it's Bournemouth that have been the better side so far today. Tony with a free kick, which is taken quickly, getting back to his feet. And he's worked it out via Jensen out towards Ruslev on the right-hand side of the penalty area, who will try and commit Lloyd Kelly. Kelly showing him inside the box, and Lerma came across to sweep up. Danjuma, though, loses out to Pontus Janssen, who made his way forward. Play forward by Janelt. Janelt towards Foster on the edge of the area, who disguised an attempt and then a right-footed effort from the edge of the area from Canos. Spooned high up in the air of a Bournemouth player. Begovic sprinting to his left-hand side to make a save from the initial shot before the deflection, then caught out of position, and Bournemouth lucky that the dip on the ball took it over the bar with Asmir Begovic out of position. It is corner which will be taken on the Brentford left.
Well, that's the second time now Sergi Canos, he's a left wing back, he's ended up almost in front of the goal, central, so he drifts over from the left hand side when the ball's on the right, so that if the ball does break in and around the outside of the box, he's there. Twice now he's got his shot off.
37 gone, 0-0. And it's a corner which will be taken by Jensen. Matthias Jensen, the former Celta Vigo man, flashing in towards the near post. First contact, chipped back in by Canos and headed away. It was Lloyd Kelly that got it clear, and then Fosu's missed his kick and the break is on. Bournemouth 2 against 1 if they work it right. Solanke didn't work it right because he had Ruslev coming back, who was caught in 2 minds, trying to cut out the pass to Danjuma, trying to stop Solanke getting too far, and eventually when Solanke played the pass, he might yet have been able to carry on going another 10-15 yards. Got the pass wrong, and a glorious opportunity for Bournemouth comes to nothing. Yeah, he just had to, I think, either release it earlier or just keep carrying it, as you're saying, and release it a little bit later. Didn't make the most of that at all. Turnover of possession in a dangerous area. Yeah, Fosu obviously with the little slip. Jensen coming in off the left-hand touchline. Canos heads it towards him. Bournemouth are able to pick it up again with Kelly, and Kelly looks long but too long, and that'll drift out of play for a goal kick which will be taken by David Raya away to the right hand side. Bournemouth haven't scored in their last 3 games, not just that they've lost them all, but haven't scored in any of them, and it's now just over 5.5 hours since their last goal, which was Dominic Solanke at Millwall in the last of their victories. But they've had their chances today. Solanke with that 2 against 1 there that he didn't make the most of. He's hit the post as well. And it's Bournemouth that have created the better opportunities with 6 to go to half time here on TalkSport 2. Yeah, Tony's just limping around. I mean, on that corner it looked like Carter Vickers had a little bit of contact on the back of his calf, but I think he'll be alright. Bournemouth defending this goal kick with a very, very high line. Well, you know why? Because they got Steve Cook there. You know, every time they go, back to front from their goalkeeper, he's won absolutely everything. So they can afford to have that high line and just compress the pitch. The Force hasn't won anything. They haven't won anything in the air. They also have to think of the fact that there's not much of a wind here, but any that there is in Bournemouth's favour. It's blowing from left to right. And so those goal kicks from David Raya are just holding up a little bit, making them easier for Steve Cook and co to attack. This is when they've looked most. Here we go again. Look, a throw from one side. So simple, really are. They've gone from the left wing now. Within one pass, they're out on the right. It's gone from Kelly through to Smith, and now Danjuma. It's just swap flanks for a moment. Danjuma in towards the edge of the penalty area. Smith will be able to pick it up, and he's come off Canos, off Janelt, I beg your pardon, and goes out for the first Bournemouth corner of the day. Well, far too easy, Jim. If you're Brentford, you're Thomas Frank looking at this, you've got to plug that gap so they can't throw it straight across the middle of the park and get out the other side in one pass. From that, a simple throw on one side of the pitch, they've got a corner at the other. Rain beginning to come down again here in Dorset. Corner to be taken away to our right-hand side. Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. Danjuma to swing it in. 6 in red and black inside the penalty area, billing the deepest of them. It's played in towards Cook. Good save. Back in from Brooks. Beaten away by Tony on the line in front of his goalkeeper to knock it clear. Fosu then with a defensive header. Tony slices it wide and out of play for a throw, but it was a good save from Red to deny Cook. And then an excellent piece of defending on the line by Tony on the follow-up to deny Brooks. Brooks trying to find a way through here, wins the throw. Bournemouth turning the screw coming towards half-time.
Yeah, superb corner that is. Another one off the training ground. We've seen both sides do that now, but what a goal line block from Tony. I mean, terrific, just to recognise to drop back on that line, prevent a possible goal.
Now Force has been caught by Carter Vickers. Reinforcer at the heart of the Bournemouth defence. We scored 31 goals this season, Ivan Toney, but that was worth one at the other end, and a crucial contribution just in front of his goalkeeper down by the left-hand post to knock it away. It will be a Brentford free kick, and they'll be happy just to draw collective breath, really, because as the half has gone on, home side's dominance has increased. Well, they're certainly asking the more pertinent questions with 3 to go to half-time as the rain intensifies. 0-0. Norgard bringing the ball forward. Finding Pinnock. Pinnock, left-footed, down the line. Carter Vickers lets it bounce, and then more than happy, the man on loan from Tottenham just to hook it forward. Solanke and Danjuma going for the same ball. They're able to control it between them. It's work back for Lerma. Lerma now to Kelly. Kelly takes a touch, gets it out from underneath his feet. David Brooks out on the left-hand side, plays it back down the line for him. Kelly wraps his foot around it, but it was a poor delivery. And Pontus Jansson could just stand where he was and stab it away. Now Steve Cook there ahead of Tony, bringing it forward towards the edge of the area, finds Danjuma, trying to work the angle. He's left 2 defenders on their backsides, but Pinnock got back to recover. Pearson is in there, win it back though for Bournemouth. Pearson taking down the right-hand side of the box, checking back, finding Smith. Smith trying to get away from Fosu. Good 1-2 between him and Pearson. Smith now into the feet of Billing. Smith goes down, tumbling off the ball. Billing plays it in, took a deflection. Norgard can clear. Brentford on the ropes at the moment. They need the half-time whistle to come. 2 to go to the break. Then Lerma has overhit a ball for Adam Smith. And it will go out of play for what has been given as a Bournemouth throw. I must admit, I thought that was going to be a Brentford ball. So too did Fosu. And then as the ball is thrown back to Smith, he's offside, and it will be a Brentford ball. But 90 seconds to go to the break, and it's increasingly frenetic as we approach half-time at 0-0. Yeah, a brilliant passage of play here from Bournemouth, keeping the pressure on. Starts with Steve Cook, and then he sort of intercepts the ball off Tony, steps in, gives it to Danjuma, chops inside Pinnock. He's got Canos in front of him, though, who I think has done a brilliant defensive job helping out Ethan Pinnock. I think he knows whichever winger he's up against, Pinnock is in for a tough game, so he's always trying to get back, provide a bit of cover, and showed his class, Canos. I know he's renowned for what he does in that attacking half of the pitch, but from a defensive perspective so far, it's been superb. Well, following all of this evening's football, the only place you can have your say on national radio is the Sports Bar. Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy, Monday to Thursday from 10 o'clock, rounding up the night's action. That's over on Talk Sport. You're not missing a kick because Adam Smith is down injured. The latest Bournemouth player to need some treatment. We're approaching half-time. There's going to be a fair bit added on, you'd think. He's been helped back to his feet without actually the need for the medical staff to come on. They were poised and ready, but Smith has said that he's okay for now. We'll be able to get through to the break. So the free kick for the offside against him, taken by David Raya. Fought and again headed away by Steve Cook. You've got to keep Pinnock. You've got to keep it away from them. You know, every time they've just kicked onto the 2 centre halves. Loose ball won by Jensen, and Cook's got that one away as well. He's got a deceptively good range of passing. He's just been put on the deck there, incidentally, just caught late off the ball, and the play again will stop. He got the ball clear, and having done so, I think he got caught by force. And although play was allowed to continue, he is in need of treatment, Steve Cook. 2 minutes of added time, and they won't start until he is back on his feet and ready to go. And he is in some distress. You can imagine, you know what Steve Cook is like. He's an old-fashioned, no-nonsense customer at centre-half. And when he's writhing around in pain, you know he's hurt. Yeah, he's a warrior. To see the contact here. Well, it doesn't seem to be any. Obviously, as he's played the ball, there are often the ones that you worry about. A little bit innocuous here. Yeah, he's just gone. There's no way. I owe Force an apology because he was a couple of yards away from him, didn't make contact, and Cook, in playing it, just seemed just to twist and maybe flick his right foot, having played the ball, into his left. And I think that's a knee problem, and he's not going to be able to continue. The signal has been given to the Bournemouth medical staff in front of us that they're going to have to make a change. And this is a monumental blow for them. The way that they play so far, he really has patrolled everything so effectively at the heart of the defence. And it's the former Brentford man, Chris Mepham, who's going to come on against his old club to replace him. They've got the option of putting Mepham in at centre-half. They could put him in at full-back and bring Kelly into the middle. But big applause for Steve Cook. But you would imagine that season ending. It certainly ends his day, and he will leave the field. He's just put his shirt over his face, and he is in some distress. Ivan Toney going across, shaking his hand and giving him a commiserative pat on the back of the head. And similarly, Sergi Cow, so much respect for Cook from the Brentford players. He had played so well, but that could be a moment that makes a big impact in this playoff semi-final.
Yeah, I think Mepham will come in left side centre-half. I imagine that's where he played. I think it was against Wickham. He just backed off actually for the goal against Ikpeazu. Yeah, and he's just going to slot in as that left side centre-half. So I think Toney and Force will breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Cook is now off, that's for sure.
So Mepham on for Cook, and the 2 minutes of added time start now. Mepham, who signed in a £12 million deal from Brentford to Bournemouth back a couple of years ago. He made nearly 50 appearances for Brentford, just over 50 since he's made the move. The Welsh international on against his old club with just over 45 minutes to go. Ball thrown forward by Yano, helped on. Adam Smith winning it back from Toney, back for Mepham, first touch from him, just sending a culture pass out towards Kelly. Kelly's ball down the left-hand touchline will be played forward down that side by Brooks, who was physically held up by Ruslev, and that will be a yellow card, first of the game for Mads Ruslev.
Yeah, he's a tricky customer, Brooks. We've seen it so many times already in this first half. Clever, as I said at the start, feet, give it to his feet, and he's tried, well, he got a nutmegs on this side of the pitch, he's got another one on that side. He can go left, he can go right, and go straight through you. What a talent he is.
So Bournemouth preparing to take this free kick. Approaching half-time. Ball swung in, nodded down towards the edge of the penalty area. It was Carter Vickers that got his touch to it. Solanke couldn't get on the end of the flick, and it is Dominic Solanke as the half-time whistle goes that will reflect on the two clearest opportunities of the game. One where he did very well to react to the near post and hit the post, and then another where he maybe had too much time to think about it, racing forward 2 against 1, couldn't find Danjuma or the route to goal, and Brentford survived that as well. And survival has been the name of the game for them. They've been second best, but Steve Cook's injury right at the end of the first half could have ramifications. At the break, it is Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. Yes, without a shadow of a doubt, but it will be interesting to see how Bournemouth can make the most of the advantage that they've had so far, and also the absence of Steve Cook in this second half is something that Brentford will hope to capitalise upon, of which more in a moment. We're back out for the second half and no further changes in personnel. The rain still coming down. Brentford red in all white, and Bournemouth in red and black striped shirts, black shorts, and it will be Bournemouth that will get us underway. Jefferson Lerma, the long ball pinged forward, which will bounce once, twice, and then down towards the corner flag, and Janssen will let it run out of play. So a reminder of the two teams: Bournemouth, Begovic in goal, Smith, Carter Vickers, Mepham and Kelly the back four. Mepham on for Steve Cook at the end of the first half. Pearson and Lerma, Brooks, Billing, Danjuma and Solanke. Brentford, David Raya, Janssen, Norgard and Pinnock. Ruslev and Canos, the wing-backs. Jan out anchoring the midfield. Jensen and Fosu ahead of him. And Toney and Force up front. Kelly heading the ball out of play. A word about Chris Mepham, who played not to his best against Queen's Park Rangers about 3-4 months or so ago, and was dropped having made a mistake in that game, and has only started one game since then, which was when a much changed side played against Wickham a couple of weeks ago. So he's only played 23 minutes really of action for what would be considered Bournemouth's strongest possible team in the last 4 months. So it's a big 45 coming up for him. Kelly in possession now. Back towards Danjuma. Tony was in there snapping his heels, and he's done well to knock the ball away, and it goes via Jensen out towards the left-hand touchline where Canos is making a good run forward in support. Tony's in the penalty area, forces there as well, so right-footed in, swinging delivery, and Tony coming to meet it. Kelly did enough to be able to get the ball away. Ruslev then back in, Jensen with the cross, and that one's knocked away by Kelly. Right-footed volley ball forward from Norgard. He and Janne both attacking the same delivery, and Bournemouth will try and get it forward and try and get it away, and then Jansen going for a piggyback ride on Solanke's shoulders. Having fouled him, he helps him back to his feet when he gets a yellow card. Jansen, who was sent off here 3 weeks ago, and he's the second player to have his name taken tonight. David Conlon.
Yeah, it was a good ball in, wasn't it, from Canos, and as you mentioned, Mepham coming in, he played against Wickham and he didn't really close the ball down when they scored either, so that might be one obviously area that they might look to target, but also just talking to some of their staff as well, can they get the ball out, be a bit better on the ball is the message, for Brentford. Haven't been good enough in possession, but also can they get it out to their wing backs a little bit earlier? They're the spare men.
Kelly working down the left-hand touchline for Bournemouth, but he comes straight back again from Ruslev, and then angled over the top. Carter Vickers chasing. He's put under pressure by Force. Force got a touch, but could only flick it from one Carter Vickers' leg onto the other, and he's still got possession, the American international. His clearance ricochets away through his own penalty area, but no harm done, and Mepham is going to be able to knock it out towards Adam Smith. Try and get Bournemouth going again. Well, the Cherries playing it forward in towards halfway. Solanke holding it up, working it wide to the Bournemouth right for Brooks, who had a couple of injuries in the first half, but has been fit to continue and come back out for the second. Smith laying it back for Brooks again, wearing 7, the Welshman, the former Sheffield United player. Back he goes for Ben Pearson, 3 minutes into the second half here on TalkSport 2. David Connolly alongside me, Jim Proudfoot, down Windle in the chair. Declan McCarthy, our in-stadium producer here at the Vitality Stadium today, and don't forget we'll bring you the team news very shortly when it breaks from Oakwell as Barnsley take on Swansea, and we'll be in South Yorkshire for the second of these playoff semi-final first legs at the conclusion of this game with Chris Iwelumo and Ian Danton. We'll be back with Dance for the team news shortly as Kelly plays the ball in here, dealt with effectively enough by Norgard, knocked away by Brentford, but only as far as Lerma. Now played forward by Pearson. Pearson into the feet of Brooks. Brooks trying to spin his man. It ricochets away for Pearson again. Now it goes out towards the right-hand touchline for Adam Smith. Brooks made a darting run from the centre of midfield out towards the right-hand touchline to offer himself in support. Bournemouth work it back the other way though, with Lerma finding Kelly. Back for Lerma again. Lerma to Brooks, turn around the corner. Billing didn't read it, and Pennick's going to be able to knock it away. Over the halfway line, Carter Vickers mopping up and guides it safely enough back to his goalkeeper. And Begovic, with the captain's armband now in the absence of Steve Cook, gets it forward over halfway. But Brentford again, first to it, Fosu to Tony. White Sox are muddied by the exertions of the first half. Now played down the right-hand side of the area for Ruslev, who drives it in. It hit Kelly from very close range, maybe on his arm, but no appeals for a penalty. It's gone out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Brentford right-hand side, about 8 yards from the corner flag, and Ruslev just waiting for options to present themselves. Throws it back for Jansen. Ruslev, flick down the line. Jansen, right-footed ball inside the penalty area for Tony. Tony coming outside the box to feed Ruslev again. Now Jensen, low-driven ball which hits Lerma, who then looks up to the heavens as it ricochets off him and goes out of play for the first quarter of the second half to Brentford.
Yeah, it's a bit better from Brentford in terms of getting the ball out wide to their wing-back, but it was just the pass from Jensen was a little bit slow. It just meant the cross that was coming in that looked like it struck a hand there was really a defender right in front of him as he played at Ruslev, so didn't quite make the most of it, but they have got a corner anyway.
Corner which will be taken over on the Brentford right-hand side.
There's a big gap there, isn't there? Look around the penalty spot, Jim. Those two on the edge of the box.
Yeah, the referee has just asked for the corner to be paused before it's taken because he's calling Tony and Carter Vickers towards him. And they're just trying to calm them down, both doing whatever they can by any means necessary to steal a mark on their opponent. But that space that David refers to is because there's so many inside the 6-yard box and very little outside it. It's clipped in towards the near post area, headed down by Tony. Might break for Kalos, didn't quite. Ruslev backpedaling outside the penalty area, did get a dominant touch to it. Played back towards Janelt. Janelt to Janssen. Janssen square to his left-hand side. Kalos clipping it in. Deep towards the far post. Pinnock trying to nod it down. It's an overhead kick over the bar. Well, it was Norgard that met it. It bounced down invitingly for him. He threw himself at it for the bicycle kick, but it cleared the bar by a couple of yards.
Yeah, not a bad effort. On his right foot here. Maybe if it was on his left, I think it might have been on target. Difficult skill. Back to goal. I just wonder, I thought they were going to tee up a little corner routine, maybe cut the ball back there into that big hole, big space. Maybe it's coming on the next one. But because they mark man for man, Bournemouth, Brentford are taking everyone so far out the back post. There's a huge hole to hit the ball into.
Begovic with the goal kick. It's 0-0 here on TalkSport 2. And it's nodded down by Jensen. Worked back to his goalkeeper by Ruslev and then cleared right-footed by David Ryab. And there's a nice turn by Jensen, takes it down on his upper chest and then swivels all in one motion. Played for by Janelt, hoping to work into the feet of force. I just wonder at what stage Brentford will decide they need to make a change up front. It's worked forward here after Lerma was brought down off the ball. The offside flag is then up against Danjuma as it was worked for. Bournemouth saying, well, there is no advantage and you should have given us a free kick. Instead, the free kick will be taken by Brentford, but only after Jefferson Lerma has received whatever treatment is necessary. It was a full-blooded late challenge coming in on him, probably half a second, a good second after the ball had gone. And Janelt might end up in the book as a result of that.
Well, it was a tight offside here. I think it was right to give the advantage because the ball just popped into Billing. Lovely little pass from Lerma, and yet, look, he was caught late, but I'm sure he'll be fine. And actually, Billing finally was in a good little position on the half-turn, fed it through to Danjuma, who's just offside. But the ball into Solanke was shocking, wasn't it? So they wouldn't have really made the most of that anyway.
Well, he's back on his feet, Jefferson Lerma. The medical staff never invited on to give their assessment of him. Lerma, a player who sometimes has a long memory in circumstances like that. He's had 13 yellows and a red this season, the Colombian.
Well, him and Ben Pearson, that is a pairing, isn't it? Goodness me, I mean, Ben, I don't know how many red cards he had at Preston, but must count.
Combative, I think is the phrase. Here's Tony on the right-hand touch. That's a good ball in from him. Fosu taking it back out towards Ruslev. Ruslev with time just to check and measure across. He's faced up by Kelly, doing everything he can to stop Ruslev getting the ball in, and he defended it really well. Now Pontus Jansson takes over. Jansson trying to flick it past Kelly, who again has stood firm and done well. Bournemouth will bring it forward. 4 against 2 if they can work it here. Good movement off the ball from Billing. Work back in for Danjuma. 1-0 to Bournemouth. First blood is theirs in the playoff semi-final first leg. Bournemouth breaking forward on the counter-attack. Rolled into Arno Danjuma. He has been on fire this season, and that's his 10th in his last 15 games. Drawing the goalkeeper, rolling it into the bottom right-hand corner, and Bournemouth lead Brentford by a goal to 0.
Well, it's a deadly counter-attack. It all starts with Pontus Jansson. I mean, what is he doing by the corner flag? Trying to do a little bit of skill, loses possession. They are so disorganised, Brentford, all over the place. Lovely little switch of play from Solanke out to Brooks, and he's got to try and keep him going on the outside. He doesn't. Pinnock just invites the pass, and when you want a player with a bit of poise, there's Danjuma. That class, that quality. Takes one touch to set himself, then he just rolls it, curls it into the far corner. Lovely little finish just to open out his body. Great goal.
Well, Brentford had a warning in the first half when the counter-attack failed to come off for Bournemouth. But They weren't able to survive a second warning. And Bournemouth lead. Danjuma with the goal. As I mentioned, 10 in 15 for him. It's his 16th goal of the season. He's now up top on his own in terms of leading goal scorer for Bournemouth, as Billing left a naughty one in there late and gives the free kick away and went more than shoulder to shoulder with Janelt, and it'll be a free kick for Brentford.
Well, I'm just looking at Norgard, just saying to Pontus Jansson, what are you doing? He's pointing to the corner flag saying, what are you doing over there, trying to do a little skill, play the ball on your inside and flick it infield? And Christian Norgard saying, well, I don't know how he can justify Pontus, because he's completely out of his comfort zone there, and he's just left his team bare at the back.
Well, Brentford are going to respond with a triple substitution in a moment. Well, I'll be hoping that it'll be back 1-1 before they make the change, because they got this free kick. It's 2 in a Bournemouth wall. Janelt standing over it, hands on hips, but it's Jensen that fires it in, deep towards the back post. Pinnock heading it back down. Billing, who was caught off the ball as the jockey for position went on, then back on his feet to half clear. Fosu getting it back in, far too much on that. And it sails behind Begovic's goal and out of play for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. That goal from Danjuma, the first that Bournemouth have scored in 348 minutes. They'd scored in each of their previous 14 league matches before that, and they have stopped it being their longest run without a goal for 9 years. The bottom line is, though, that Brentford will be buoyed by the fact Bournemouth have conceded in each of their last 7 games. So a triple change is going to be made. Marcondes, Henry and Mbeumo are the 3 players who are going to be coming on. So a triple change made here in this one, where we're approaching the hour mark and Bournemouth lead Brentford by 1-0. Force has come off, Fosu off, Ruslev off, and they've been replaced by Mbeumo and Henry and Marcondes. What are your thoughts on the changes, David Coleman?
Yeah, well, look, I think Force really struggled today. He never got hold of the ball and was barely in the game, so I can understand that. You know, in terms of Ruslev coming off as a wing-back, it's a like-for-like change. Rico Henry going over to the left-hand side, and Canos now just switching over to the right. So 2 very attack-minded wing-backs.
And Mbeumo.
Yeah, and obviously, look, Mbeumo's Mbeumo. You know, he's class. Obviously, he scored here, didn't he, a couple of weeks back.
And it didn't take him long on that occasion to come off the bench and score, just 3 minutes after he came on. Thomas Frank hoping for a similar immediate impact here. And Mbeumo, the only Brentford player inside the penalty area at the moment, is thrown forward here by Lloyd Kelly, looking for Solanke, but Bournemouth able to bring it forward with Canos, who's on this near touchline now. The Brentford right swapping flanks, as Dave was saying, with Rico Henry, the former Walsall player who set off in the first leg of the playoff semi-finals last year, making his way forward. That was a harsh decision, a red card that was rightly rescinded, and he was able to play in the Griffin Park Swan Song, which was a very memorable occasion. Victory in that second leg over Swansea, which got Brentford to Wembley. Brentford with possession at the back now with Janssen. Janssen finding Raya. Fall from him to Norgard. Pinnock to his left. Henry making an advance run down the touchline. It goes infield instead for Janelt. And back very quickly for Norgard again. We played an hour and it's 1-0 to Bournemouth with a crossfield ball played down towards Canos. Canos looking up and Mbeumo making a darting running towards the edge of the penalty area, flicking it on intelligently. Jensen into the side netting. That was a sharp shot. Well, it looked as though he was going to try and lay it in for Henry in the middle, and he went for goal himself, maybe deceiving Begovic, and he rifled it, but just about a foot wide of the post.
Yeah, really unlucky. What a lovely little touch this is from Mbeumo, just to guide it into the path of Jensen. Good strike, but he's blazed it wide at near post. Got to try and at least hit the target from there. Brush the side netting. Bit better though.
Well, Brian Mbeumo has scored 3 goals in his last 4 games. Up top now alongside Tony with 31 to his name this season. He's scored in each of his last 2. Has won a playoff campaign in the past, Ivan Toney, back in his Barnsley days 5 years ago. Here's Rico Henry. Back to his goalkeeper. And David Raya taking a touch, taking another one, and then another before just playing it forward, just pinging it out to where he hoped Jensen was going to be. It was the other number 8 he found, though, with a header, Jefferson Lerma. Crossfield ball from Brentford as they win it back, finds Henry. And the young Midlander can bring it forward towards halfway. Only Marcondes in there for him, but it's played back instead for Ethan Pinnock. Pinnock now to Norgard. Norgard able to bring it forward and take it on about 10-15 yards and just chip it over the top. Begovic saw the run coming from Henry, but he is playing ultra advanced on the left-hand side, Rico Henry, since coming on. Begovic had to be at his most alert to come out and deal with that through ball there. Bournemouth then try and bring it forward, win a free kick as Janelt catches Brooks, and it's free kick for Bournemouth and an opportunity for them to get the bodies forward, but no real pace in the game as far as Bournemouth are concerned now in this kind of situation. Just happy to manage the game now that they have the lead given to them 7 minutes ago by Danjuma. Free kick which will be taken over on the Bournemouth right. And played back towards halfway again for Ben Pearson. Pearson flicking it to his right and then out towards the touchline for Smith. Pearson just dropping deep towards the halfway line. Much of Bournemouth's attacking play from deep going through him. Now an opportunity for Solanke to drop off. Lerman playing it down towards the left for Danjuma. Crowd getting back to their feet as Bournemouth are on the front foot again here towards the edge of the box. And it's still Danjuma taking on another touch towards the edge of the D, then plays it out towards the right hand side, switching the play quickly. Smith in towards Billing, who's onside. He leaves it for Danjuma. Chip back in but headed away. Brought down by Brooks. He can't waltz his way through. And then out comes David Raya, who's able to make a save. I think that Danjuma probably was in an offside position and was unable to play the ball, and as a result of that it was an easier piece of goalkeeping for the former Blackburn man between the sticks for Brentford tonight than it might have been. Brentford with the majority of possession, and even more so after the goal. Now on the front foot here with Henry working into the feet of Mbermo. Mbermo continuing his run down the left-hand side of the box, playing it in, and a cross that takes a deflection at the near post. He's helped back to his feet. It is a corner, and already a fresh dimension to the Brentford attack since they've made the change with Mbermo coming on for force.
He's looked really bright. It's no mean feat trying to get on the other side of Carter Vickers, who's so strong. He does just that, and Mbermo just about wins a corner, and he's looked really bright.
Good defending by Carter Vickers, stuck out a right foot and steered it away. So corner to be taken over on the Brentford left-hand side. Tony trying to get free inside the 6-yard box, and Burmo is there as well, darting running towards the near post. Begovic, he dropped it and gathered at probably the third attempt rather than the second, but he was able to pounce down on the ball eventually on the edge of the 6-yard box with bodies all around him. Then he picks it up and bowls it out for Kelly. There's another well-worked Brentford corner that caused problems, but Kelly can bring it forward towards halfway here for Bournemouth, leading Brentford by a goal to nil. Barnsley against Swansea to come here on TalkSport 2 at the conclusion of this. And from 4 a.m. every weekday morning you can download the TalkSport Daily podcast, which will include some of the best bits from TalkSport and TalkSport 2. It'll be ready for you tomorrow morning. So TalkSport Daily, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Acast. As Bournemouth work it forward here with Brooks just a little bit too much on it to be brought under control by Danjuma. Bournemouth deserving the 1-0 lead at the moment. Yeah, and Brentford haven't been at their best at all.
No, they haven't. I mean, Jensen just played the ball off the park again. That's the second or third time he's done that. Janelt tried to play the ball out blind, didn't have a look over his shoulder, gave it straight to David Brooks, and just got to be careful, settle down here, Brentford. Certainly in the middle of the park in midfield, they just haven't been good enough today, Brentford. And going back to that corner, it looked like, I think, Pontus Jansson just left a little trailing arm on Begovic, which meant that he just spilled the ball, but he got away with it.
Bournemouth have a throw, which Kelly is going to come to take on the Bournemouth left-hand side. It's dropped short at the feet of Danjuma, who's been a real influence. Back to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers now forward towards Adam Smith. Smith out to the Bournemouth right for Brooks. Brooks clipping it in, left-footed, headed away by Janssen. Just got the opportunity to have a little free shot and bang into Solanke as he got that one away. Brentford then work it forward towards Marcondes. Marcondes to Tony. Tony's cushioned layoff brought forward by Canos, but given away to Pearson. Pearson playing it straight through the midfield where Solanke can pick it up and turn, but wrestles his man to the ground. It was Pinnock, a foul on him. Ball ended up at the feet of Henry, so Play continues with Brentford still in possession, and Marcondes plays it down towards the right for Canos. Canos to Mbermo. Mbermo coming outside the penalty area to link up the play. Jan out now. Jan out, good reverse ball in. Good chance for Marcondes. Good save from Begovic, who was out and flicked it into Marcondes. And out of play for a goal kick. He's stayed down hurt, Marcondes, but it was good football all round. Excellent pass, good movement, good anticipation from the goalkeeper.
Brilliant anticipation, yeah, from Begovic. Came out, spread himself really well. It's a good run from Marcondes. Just gets across the face of Billing, who just reacts a little bit too late. But as he's trying to get a shot, Begovic is already there. He's on the ball. Tried to scoop it over his chest. Just came off the middle of him, Begovic. But yeah, excellent goalkeeper. And then came back off Marcondes by the looks of it.
Brentford with the second best away record, the third best home record. Bournemouth's form better here than away. Fourth best home record, sixth best away record. So it ends this way, 1-0. You'd think it would set up the second leg beautifully. And Brentford Community Stadium is the venue. And the game will take place 12:30 Saturday lunchtime, and it's live for you on Talk Sport. Tomorrow we've got Talk Sport 2 exclusive action for the League 1 playoff semi-final first day. Oxford against Blackpool kicks off at 6. Then Newport against Forest Green in Talk Sport 2's League 2 playoff semi-final kicks off at 8:15 tomorrow. Another double bill of playoff action for you. And over on Talk Sport tomorrow night, live exclusive action from along the coast from here. Brighton against Manchester City with Danny Mills alongside Sam Matterface. Wednesday, it's Spurs Villa, Newcastle Sheffield United, Palace Arsenal, Burnley Liverpool, all live for you, and Lincoln Sunderland in the playoffs. Thursday, Tranmere Morecambe, Friday, Blackpool Oxford, and then Saturday, the FA Vase final, and the second legs between Brentford, Bournemouth, Sunderland and Lincoln, and Swansea and Barnsley. We've got it all covered for you coming up on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, the TalkSport app as well. More football, almost than you can cope with over the next week or so on the TalkSport network. This one, beautifully poised at the moment. Midway through the second half, 1-0 Bournemouth. The rain has abated, and the sun coming out again on the south coast. Billing flicked forward towards the edge of the penalty area. I'll tell you something, when you're used to watching football behind closed doors, a crowd of 2,000 makes the noise of a crowd of 25,000, and it's certainly been doing the business for Bournemouth here today. And that is something that cannot be overstated, the part that they have played. And of course, it'll be back in Brentford's favour this coming Saturday. Janssen taking a throw, finds Norgard. Norgard works it across the penalty area for Pinnock. Pinnock out to Henry. Henry on as a left wing back, replacing Ruslev. Working it through the midfield, an opportunity for Jensen just to play it forward. It's a good ball into space. Marcondes, good movement from him. Canos invited forward. Right-footed ball, took a deflection off Kelly. Dealt with by Mepham, but steered away for a corner.
Yeah, that's more like it. Lovely little switch of play. Looks like Ben Pearson's down there showing, but lovely switch of play from Jensen. And the cross that came in did take a little nick. Looked like it's actually going to the path of Mbeumo right on the 6-yard box, but good covering clearance from Mepham.
Well, they've lost Steve Cook to injury, and Ben Pearson, as you say, is now down. Is that his left thigh, perhaps, that is causing him the problem? Maybe his lower leg. He's just rubbing his hip now, whilst the physio leans over him to give the benefit of his advice. Got Jack Wilshere that they can bring on. The substitutes we haven't seen, incidentally, for both teams. For Bournemouth, Wilshere, Long, Surridge, Stacey Riquelme, Diego Rico and Anthony. Brentford can still call upon Good, Godos, Dalsgaard, Reed and Bidstrup. Brentford waiting patiently to take this corner. 20 minutes to go. It's Danjuma's goal on 55 that is the difference between the two teams. Bournemouth haven't beaten Brentford since 2014. Junior Stanislas, who's not involved today, scored. Steve Cook played in that one. Bournemouth haven't won at Brentford for 15, 16 years, so they feel that they might have to take a first leg advantage to that if those historical statistics are anything more really than idiosyncrasies. This looks bad though for Pearson, who's been held back to his feet by the Bournemouth physio, but is making his way over towards this near touchline from the heart of the midfield very gingerly indeed, and Bournemouth are going to have to make a change. Brentford are going to make another one as well, and Henrik Dalsgaard is the player who's going to come on for them. He scored against Bournemouth back in December, one of only 2 goals that he scored this season, and the Dane will be introduced shortly. Bournemouth with the change first. Pearson off, and Jack Stacey is the man that's coming on to replace him.
Yeah, they've got a good bench, haven't they, Bournemouth? If you think about it, real strength in depth. And I think Pearson will be a loss, but obviously can call upon a player as good as Stacey.
Stacey, who scored the aggregate winner in the playoff semi-final once back in his Exeter days. And he comes on, takes his place inside that penalty area along with all of his teammates to defend this corner. And again, there's a big gap for Jensen to try and hit. Teased in and over everybody, over the goal. Straight out of play for a goal kick. Almost flighted it in with the outside of his right boot, as if he was just trying to catch Begovic out, but didn't get the trajectory right at all. Goal kick which will be taken by Bournemouth. 18 to go here on TalkSport 2. Bournemouth 1, Brentford 0. Here's David Connolly.
Well, by his standards, that was a really disappointing delivery. And in possession, as we said earlier, I mean, he just made a good pass into just before that, prior to that, but barring that, him and Jano in the middle of the park have been pretty poor in possession. I mean, Jano has now come off. Dalsgaard's come on, so probably a little bit of a rejig. We'll see where Dalsgaard goes. Looks like he's gone maybe into the back line.
Yeah, on the right of the 3 centre-halves, I would guess, with Norgard moving forward into Janelt's position in midfield. That looks to be how they're going to change things around. So it is all changed. The 4 substitutions that they've made, changes in personnel, and plenty of other positional changes as well. Billing turning it forward here for Bournemouth, who lead 1-0. And it's worked for by Dalsgaard. Gets a return ball. More and more possession all the time here for Brentford on the front foot with Norgard in this more advanced role now. Norgard with a long crossfield ball out towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. It's headed by Adam Smith away from Rico Henry, but out for a throw that will be taken over on the Bees' left.
Well, I think Norgard now playing a little bit higher up will help Brentford certainly try and break them down now, using his quality in sort of more dangerous areas rather than at the back.
Jensen in possession on the left-hand side of midfield. Back for Pinnock. Pinnock now towards the edge of the box, laying it off again. Possession has actually been consistent. It feels as though Brentford have been getting more and more as the game has gone on. Ball played inside the penalty area now and stabbed away after a fashion by Lerma. And it goes out of play for a throw. It's 55-45 in Brentford's favour. It's been exactly the same in both halves, but say in the last 10-15 minutes or so, it's been Brentford who've been more heavily involved. Their possession has been in slightly more advanced areas as well, but they can't get Tony into the game. Some nice moments from Mbermo since coming on. Jensen. Now Henry has it, taking a step back, controls it on his chest. He's all left foot though. Smith trying to show him towards the byline, and did that very well to make sure that as Henry played it in, he had no angle to work. And he goes into the side netting and out of play for a goal kick that Asmir Begovic will take. 15 to go, and it's still 1-0 Bournemouth.
Yeah, and I think a couple of times tonight, Brentford have just tried to be a bit too cute. I think when the ball's gone wide to the wing backs, we'll go back to the first time, maybe Roslev, take a couple of touches, and you've got 2 in the box. You've got to remember, they've got a front 2 in there. He's just waiting for the ball. Rico Henry there, taking another touch, trying to be clever, work an even closer opportunity to goal. I think half a yard, can you pick someone out and just put it in the box?
Jonathan Woodgate enjoying his first meaningful taste of the playoffs. I mentioned earlier that he played 2 minutes in the playoffs as a player, but victory against Brentford in that game might well be followed up by victory against Brentford in this one, and his first as a manager. Kelly preparing to take the throw on the Bournemouth left-hand side. Bournemouth have been beaten in the last 2 games here by Brentford themselves, by Stoke as well on the last day of the season, but finding form when it matters most, seemingly. They have been excellent tonight. They'll certainly feel that they're well worthy of the 1-0 lead that they have against their name at the moment. Here's Pinnock for Brentford. Floodlights certainly doing their bit now. You can see the shadows on the pitch from the 4 floodlight pylons at the corners of the ground. Ball worked for by Dalsgaard. Now brought down by Jensen. Jensen's right-footed ball over the top, and Marcondes has lent into Mepham and fouled him. Free kick to Bournemouth on the edge of the D, on the edge of their own penalty area with 14 to go. David Connolly.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's going to happen for Brentford tonight. You know, I think they can just stay in the game if it isn't really happening for them, certainly in that final third. Just stay in the game. Obviously still a long way to go, lessons to be learned, but I think they'll know that obviously Bournemouth have been a tough nut here. They've played very, very well. They had a lot to contend with as well in terms of players going off, reshuffling, different positions on the pitch. Obviously I think the wide men have been brilliant for them, don't you? I think Brooks and Danjuma have real class and craft about them.
Absolutely, it has been a performance that has been much more in keeping with Bournemouth's run of 7 straight wins in the early spring, rather than the results which had immediately preceded this playoff campaign. Never lost a playoff game. It's only their 3rd playoff campaign, their first in 10 years. They beat Lincoln in the League 2 final back in 2003. Most recent playoff goal before tonight was actually scored by Danny Ings, but it's Danjuma's goal tonight that's the difference. And we welcome listeners from TalkSport joining us here on TalkSport 2. Bournemouth leading by a goal to nil, but Brentford on the front foot here. Ball which inside the penalty area and put in. Or has he put it wide? If that is missed, it is an extraordinary miss. It's Brian Burmo that's sliding in, right-footed cross. He's 4 yards out. He's got all the goal to aim at, and I think he's contrived just to slice it wide of the near post. Much, much harder to do that than to score.
Well, everybody around us rose. Obviously, we got a lot of Brentford staff here. They thought that was it, the equaliser. I mean, Norgard, it's a kind of cross-come shot. He's just laced it across the 6-yard box. And Burmo's come flying in. He's on the stretch, on the slide. He's just going to put it into the empty net. Instead, he hits the back of the post. I mean, what a miss.
Well, it should be 1-1 as it is. Salo Danjuma's goal on the counter-attack is the difference between the two teams. Those are thoughts of former Portsmouth, the Republic of Ireland striker David Connolly alongside me, Jim Bradford. The game continuing for you on TalkSport 2, and we also have the second of the playoff semi-final first legs from the Championship tonight over on TalkSport 2 as well, as Barnsley take on Swansea. Bournemouth bringing the ball forward here. It has gone out of play for a goal kick very briefly, David. Bournemouth good value for the 1-0 lead prior to that miss.
Absolutely, I think they've played ever so well. You know, their goal was really good, you know, in terms of they turned the ball over and Brentford were caught just out of position and disorganised, but they countered so quickly. Brooks has been brilliant, lovely little pass to Danjuma, who finished it ever so well. You know, the wide men for Bournemouth have been excellent. They've been solid at the rock, sort of at the back as well. Begovic has been good in goals. So it's been a good all-round performance, but Brentford just not quite as flowing, as free-flowing as we have seen them this season. Certainly not in possession.
Well, the one cloud of the horizon as far as Bournemouth are concerned. They've lost both Steve Cook and Ben Pearson to injury, but they lead it by a goal to nil as Brentford work it forward here again with Mbermo, and it'll be cleared by Lloyd Kelly. So for more EFL semi-final playoff action, join us over on TalkSport 2 via the app or DAB+. Bournemouth 1, Brentford 0 with 10 minutes to go. Janssen playing it forward. Now Jensen looking long. Bournemouth still defending with this high back line. Henry's got plenty of pace, but Smith, that bit older than him, stayed with him shoulder to shoulder, pace by pace, and was able to watch it out of play for a goal kick. Bournemouth will make another change now. David Brooks has been excellent, but Jack Wilshere is going to come on to replace him.
Yeah, not a bad sub, is it? You know, so that's the strength in depth that obviously we touched on earlier that Bournemouth have, and he's been really good. Look, you give him the ball. We saw early doors where he made a run in behind, but he checked short, and the ball went in behind. You could tell him, you know, he was saying to his teammates, I want the ball here. And whenever he got the ball to feet, I mean, he can go left, he can go right, he can even play it through people's legs. I mean, he's class. Obviously got the assist for the goal, and he's a really, really talented player.
So Wilshere on. It won't surprise you to hear that it's the first playoff campaign of his illustrious career as well. The final Brentford change is imminent. Saman Ghoddos is also going to be coming on, the Iranian international. He's also played international football for Sweden in his career as well. He'll be on shortly. That'll be Brentford's final change. Bournemouth have got two more. The ball is played out. I say they've got two more. They haven't got two more because they've made although they've only made three changes, they've made them at three separate intervals. So The arrival of Golos in a moment will be the final substitute to be introduced. Canos trying to play down the Brentford right-hand side. They trail by a goal to nil. Possession up to 60% for them in this second half, but chances few and far between, relatively speaking. They've just had the one shot on goal in this second half so far, although Bournemouth should have scored moments ago. Canos now trying to nutmeg Lloyd Kelly, couldn't do that. Kelly getting in the way before Marcondes could apply significant pressure. Got it away over the halfway line, and that will do as far as Bournemouth are concerned. They're more than happy just to hang in there now, and another opportunity comes their way on the counter-attack. They'll try and take it, but it's just about soaking up the pressure here and recording what will be a first clean sheet since they went to Blackburn on April the 5th, if they can shut Brentford out. They'll try and bring it forward now with Stacey. Stacey's got Danjuma in the middle. Cross comes in, takes a deflection, and Bournemouth will be more than happy to take a corner out of that with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they've sat in and soaked up an awful lot. It was a good spell there for Brentford, but what they possess at Bournemouth is real pace, and they can counter really quickly. You know, the fullbacks flood forward, so do the wide men, and, you know, they've run a corner out of nothing, basically. So, you know, that's how they play Bournemouth. They can mix it. You know, they can dominate the ball, and if there's a spell where they don't really have it, they can sit in knowing that they have got that speed that can kill.
And this is their first corner of the second half. So Bournemouth setting up with 5 inside the penalty area. They've got Stacey on the edge of the box. They've got Wilshere on the edge of the D. Right-footed away, swing it. 2 Brentford players attacking the same ball. Then a better header away from Tony. Gets it out of the penalty area. Smith will pick it up though on the left-hand side. The Bournemouth right back checks back inside onto his favoured right foot. Laid off for Solanke. Smith's gone down. He's fallen inside the penalty area. The challenge is outside the box, but only just. It's right by the corner of the penalty area and probably only 2 feet outside the box.
Yeah, nice little give and go here, but Jensen did commit the foul, as you say, right on the edge. It's probably, I guess, the angle's a little bit too wide to go for goal, so they might have to work something clever here.
So Bournemouth not sending everybody forward, as you would imagine. A 1-0 lead with 6.5 minutes to go.
Well, Carter Vickers has got in. You know what, Mepham, we wondered about him in terms of he hasn't really played much, but he's done very well, isn't he, since he's come on. He's done really well.
Hasn't been phased.
No, not at all. But he's just he's hanging back at the minute with Lloyd Kelly, so they aren't taking too many risks with this free kick for.
Raya's happy that the wall is in the right place. He's got 3 in it. Danjuma, the ball spotted down right by the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Can Bournemouth double their lead? It is Danjuma! Good save! Diving away to his right-hand side, David Raya had shot him that side of the goal, really, and came across behind the wall and beat it away with both hands and out for a corner.
Yeah, I mean, spectacular one for the... I think he could have maybe tried to catch this. I don't know. Wasn't that much in the corner. I think he had it covered pretty well. Good attempt, though, from Danjuma.
So another Bournemouth corner, their second in quick succession. And this will be an in-swinging delivery. 6 to go. Bournemouth leading 1-0. Second goal would be priceless. Mepham now waved forward. Only Kelly has stayed back. In it comes right-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away, though, by Tony, who has been a real potent weapon defensively. Remember, he cleared one off the line in the first half. Ball knocked away by Begovic. A high spinning clearance. And then the offside flag is up against Lerma. Pontus Jansson had got it forward. And the free kick has been given Brentford's way. Wilshere questioning the decision, but now picks up the ball and just chips it into Brentford territory, so the free kick can be taken, and they'll make the change, the final one. Jensen coming off, and Golos is coming on. Swedish-born winger, now an Iranian international, signed from Amiens in France. He played under Graham Potter at Östersunds in Sweden, and was in the side that won at Arsenal a few years back in Europe. And he is on.
He's a technician, Jim, him. You know, want to get on the ball and make things happen. But they won that offside, Brentford, from brilliant defensive play. You know, when the ball goes forward, they fly up that back line, and if you're a little bit lazy coming out, as Lerma was, and you're caught offside. Now, really good play, even this late in the game.
Wilshere turning it forward here, and Bournemouth fancy their chances of another on the counter-attack. Danjuma, Brentford have outnumbered Bournemouth as they're coming forward, but Solanke's got it, and his shot is comfortably saved by Raya, who got down on one knee on the edge of his 6-yard box and brought it into his hands. Jonathan Woodgate very animated down at the edge of his technical area to our left in his dark Bournemouth tracksuit. Just pointing, orchestrating proceedings. The side 4 minutes plus stoppage time away from a first leg lead. Second leg, 12:30 on Saturday. Build-up starts at 11 over on Talk Sport, that one. Norgard bringing it forward. Now it comes down to his right-hand side for Emi Marcondes, and Dalsgaard will be able to bring it further forward. Outside him is Canos. Canos, right-footed ball, clips inside the area. Tony, a crane, the neckmasters couldn't get anything on it, and it goes just over the bar from Norgard, although Begovic did have it covered as it came to Norgard on the edge of the penalty area. A left-footed shot, rising drive. Begovic's hands up very quickly, and had it been creeping under the bar, Begovic would have been able to make a save.
I just wondered, Norgard, I think he took it off the toes of Godos here. I think he was just coming onto it on his right peg. He could have left it. In the end, took a couple of touches, trying to shift it onto his left and set himself properly. Couldn't quite keep it down though. And I just wonder whether Bournemouth here have just changed shape a little bit, gone to a 3, just brought Lloyd Kelly in a little bit closer to Mepham and Carter Vickers, almost matching up a Brentford play. Have to wait and see whether that's the case. Yeah, just to try and see it out.
Smith's come over to this near side, the left, to play as left wing back, and Stacey's playing as a right wing back now. When I say wing back, full back really, in a 5, with Lloyd Kelly on the left of the 3 centre halves, Mepham in the centre, and Carter Vickers on the right of the 3. So playing 5-3-2 really here, Bournemouth, with Wilshere in the heart of the midfield, Lerma to his left, Phil Billing to his right with the 2 up top. Brentford play it forward, Tony flicking it round the corner. It's going to be chased by Marcondes, well defended by Kelly, who has been catching the eye of Premier League clubs. If it doesn't go up with Bournemouth, I think he'll be playing top flight football somewhere next season. A poor job for many, you would think. Ball's gone out for a throw, which will be taken by Kelly. Smith, the old pro, doing everything he can to waste a little bit of time. 1-2 with the hoardings, then flicking it up, trying to throw it over Kelly's head, so he had to retrieve the ball for the throw. Time very much running out as far as Brentford are concerned. Trailing 1-0, they've only ever won one playoff game in their history. Well, I beg your pardon, one of the last 13, not one in their history, one of the last 13 in normal time, which was at home to Swansea in the second leg of the semi-final last season. And they're going to have to win the second leg of this one in normal time, unless they can find an equaliser here today. Janssen played out towards Pinnock. Pinnock struggling to get the ball out from between his feet for a moment, puts it back to his goalkeeper. Good pressure applied by the Bournemouth players, and the clock on the big scoreboards at a couple of the corners of the ground here at the Vitality Stadium about to tick into the 90th minute. Dalsgaard chips it forward, it's headed away by Kelly. Wilshere able to bring the ball forward and travel in possession over the halfway line, and he's then been fouled, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth, and by the time they take it, they're going to be well inside the last minute with probably 4 or 5 to be added on. It's Bournemouth 1, Brentford 0.
Yeah, he had the right intentions here, Godos, but look, you're going to catch Jack Wilshere, so one thing you don't do, just don't commit a foul. You know, just keep running alongside him. You'll catch him up eventually. Doesn't have that burst of pace that he used to. It's a silly foul, just waste vital seconds that you do really need now.
Begovic, driven forward, right-footed, he's looked long, Solanke will chase after it. Good header by the retreating Dalsgaard. Then he needs to get his head to it again as Bournemouth turned it forward. Lerma picking up the pieces, this time in the heart of the midfield for Bournemouth. Down towards Wilshere. Fourth official Dean Whitestone's got the numbers board in his hands as Kelly fires it forward and out of play for a goal kick. How many minutes will be added? 5. So 5 minutes for Brentford to find an equaliser. 5 minutes for Bournemouth to hang on, to take a first leg advantage to West London on Saturday. Last time they were there, they led but lost 2-1. Ball play forward here for Ivan Toney for Brentford. Headed down, and Burmo, who's missed the clearest opportunity. Chesting it down, shot comes in from Norgard. It was blocked right on the edge of the box by Mepham, and Burmo's got it now, finding Godos. Godos forced away by Adam Smith, lays it back towards the edge of the centre circle for Pinnock. Pinnock playing it forward for Emi Marcondes. Good movement from Burmo between the centre halves, but Mepham heads it away again. Norgard just nudged out of the way by Jack Wilshere, and then Dalsgaard and Godos coming across and sandwiching Danjuma, the goal scorer, but no foul. Or has he given the free kick, the referee? The ball's gone out of play for what would be a throw. But it is going to be a free kick to Bournemouth on the left-hand side. Coming towards the end of the first of the 5 additional minutes. 1-0 they lead. Nobody's sure exactly what has been given here. It's going to be a Bournemouth throw, which Adam Smith, again, is wasting as much time as he thinks he can get away with before playing it back for Kelly, who's got a good long throw on him. He's almost stood on the toes of Thomas Frank. Now runs up the dotted line by the Bournemouth technical area to throw it forward. Headed on again by Kelly. Loose ball brought down by Wilshere. Jack Wilshere telling Solanke that he will take the responsibility. Then back heels it into the path of Solanke. Solanke's lost it. Play for by Canos. Worked into a vacant part of the midfield for Marcondes. Bournemouth have got plenty of bodies back, and it was a poor ball to try and find Henry. And Bournemouth, in knocking it away, have been able to find Danjuma, who's got the run at Pinnock here. Pinnock's done well. He's got his long legs back and between Danjuma and the ball, and has been able to clear, but it's gone out of play. And it's going to be a Bournemouth ball, and they're seeing out the game very effectively here with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, just didn't make the most of that. Marcondes, he just left the pass short to Rico Henry on the overlap and just allowed Bournemouth to break it up. They've done that well tonight, haven't they? They broke up an awful lot of play. I mean, just when Jefferson Lerma is down, he might have a touch of cramp or whatever, put a real shift in for his side.
Well, it's the Bournemouth supporters in fine voice. It's, for many of them, been well worth the wait to be able to come back in to watch their beloved team on their hallowed turf. And they've dealt with Brentford so effectively tonight. The Bees having just the one shot on target in 90 plus minutes. And Bournemouth managing the situation very effectively down by the corner flag. Solanke wins the corner, which is Bournemouth's third of the second half and their fourth of the night. It's going to be taken over there by a combination of Danjuma to Billing, and I think this might just be worked short, you know.
Well, the thing is, do you think it's going to stay in there very long when it goes short? Inevitably, it doesn't really work out. They lose possession immediately. We'll have to wait and see if this is any different.
Well, Marcondes is sprinting towards it. It's been tapped in towards Billing. Billing has actually turned away very effectively. They still got it, Bournemouth, down by the corner flag, trying to hope that they get another corner. Marcondes will bring it away and can't really get it out of harm's way. He's been helped, though, by Billing fouling his man. And it's going to be a free kick, which Brentford will be able to take in their left-back position. And they've got 90 seconds as they seek an equaliser. Is it going to be advantage Bournemouth at the end of this first leg? It's looking that way. Long ball smacked for by David Raya. Going up for it, Carter Vickers, not the tallest centre-half, but he's had an excellent game. Wilshere then using his strength to dispossess Canos. Works it forward here for Danjuma. Danjuma left-hand side of the penalty area. Adam Smith making a run one side of him. Danjuma goes the other way. Jefferson Lerma urged to shoot, just maintains possession, rides the challenges, gets it away from Tony. Billing lays it back. Carter Vickers playing it forward, aiming for the corner flag. If he's got it out of play for a throw rather than a corner, that is a good piece of play.
Kicking for touch there. I mean, when they were attacking their Bournemouth, I mean, Jonathan Woodgate, all he's doing is pointing at his back line saying, you stay there, you get back. He wasn't even looking at them attacking.
40 seconds to go. Cleared by David Raya. Poor clearance, which is deflected. David Raya's off his line and came back as it was hit towards goal by Billing from about 35 yards. Didn't get any height on it. Raya was able to make a diving save. 20 seconds to go. Raya's long ball forward. Tony trying to flick it on for the run of Mbermo in behind him. Bournemouth again. Alleviate the threat. Whack it upfield. Tim Robinson looks at his watch. Looks at his watch again. And it is advantage Bournemouth to go to West London on Saturday. They played their way out of some very inclement form with a goal from Arno Danjuma 10 minutes into the second half of this first leg. Brentford coming into the tie as the form team, unbeaten in 12, 4 wins in a row, but off colour tonight, only one shot on target. Bournemouth know that if they can get any form of positive result at Brentford at the weekend, then they'll be back in London at the end of the month underneath the arch in the playoff final, and their hopes of an immediate return to the Premier League will be very much intact. Brentford have work to do. They'll have to improve at the weekend. They've been beaten tonight on the South Coast by a goal to 0.